For decades, oil controlled the world. Countries fought wars over it because energy meant power. But today, something even more important is rising: microchips. Tiny semiconductors hidden inside phones, cars, AI systems, satellites, and modern weapons now power civilization itself, and at the center of this system sits Taiwan. Home to TSMC, the company producing the world's most advanced chips, Taiwan has become one of Earth's most important places. As tensions between China and the United States grow and military drills surround the island, the world is realizing a terrifying truth. Modern civilization may depend on one fragile island more than anyone ever imagined. This is the story of Taiwan's semiconductor siege, and why the future of the world may depend on what happens next. The tiny components running human civilization. Most people never think about semiconductors. They are invisible. You cannot smell them. You cannot eat them. You rarely even see them. But without them, modern life stops instantly. No smartphones, no internet, no modern banking, no airplanes, no AI, no advanced military systems, no electric cars. Semiconductors are the brains inside machines. And over the last 20 years, they quietly became more important than oil itself. That is why many people now call chips the new oil, because countries no longer compete only for land or energy. They compete for computing power. And computing power depends on semiconductors. Artificial intelligence made this even more important. AI systems need enormous amounts of advanced chips to function. Data centers need them. Cloud computing needs them. Military systems need them. Even modern missiles and drones depend on advanced semiconductors. And one company became more important than all the others. TSMC. How Taiwan became the king of chips. Taiwan did not become powerful because of natural resources. It became powerful because of engineering. Back in the 1980s, Taiwan invested heavily in technology and semiconductor manufacturing. Over time, TSMC pioneered the Foundry model, producing chips designed by companies around the world. That changed everything. Instead of every tech company building its own factories, companies like Apple, NVIDIA, AMD, and Qualcomm could simply design chips while TSMC manufactured them. Slowly, Taiwan became the center of the semiconductor universe. Today, Taiwan produces around 60% of the world's contract chips and over 90% of the most advanced semiconductors. That number is almost impossible to understand. One island now controls the advanced chips powering much of the modern world. And the more advanced technology becomes, the more dependent the world becomes on Taiwan, especially because of artificial intelligence. AI requires massive computing power. Massive computing power requires advanced chips. And advanced chips mostly come from Taiwan. This created something experts now call the silicon shield. Taiwan's silicon shield. The silicon shield is a simple idea. Taiwan became so important to the global economy that attacking it could damage the entire world. In theory, that importance helps protect Taiwan. Because if Taiwan's semiconductor industry stopped functioning, the global economy could enter chaos almost immediately. Factories across the world could shut down. Technology companies could lose production. Automobile manufacturing could freeze. AI development could slow dramatically. Even modern militaries could face problems. Advanced weapon systems require semiconductors, missile guidance systems, radar systems, drones, communication networks, satellites. Modern warfare itself depends on chips. That is why Taiwan's importance goes far beyond consumer electronics. It has become a strategic center of global power. And this is exactly why tensions around Taiwan keep increasing. China's view of Taiwan. China considers Taiwan part of its territory. Taiwan sees itself differently, with its own government and democratic system. For decades, this tension existed quietly in the background. But now, semiconductors changed the equation. Because Taiwan is no longer just politically important. It is economically critical. Control over Taiwan would also all mean influence over the most advanced semiconductor supply chain on Earth. And Beijing understands that. At the same time, the United States also understands Taiwan's importance. This transformed Taiwan into one of the most dangerous geopolitical flashpoints in the world, not because of geography alone, but because of technology, military drills around the island. In recent years, Chinese military activity around Taiwan has increased significantly. Large military drills now regularly surround the island with ships, aircraft, and simulated blockade exercises. These exercises send a message. China wants the world to know It can pressure Taiwan whenever it chooses, and every new military drill creates fear inside global markets. Because investors understand something important. A war over Taiwan would not remain local. It would instantly become a global economic crisis. Shipping routes could close. Technology supply chains could collapse. Factories worldwide could stop production. Even a blockade, not a full invasion, could seriously damage semiconductor exports. Research shows quarantine or blockade scenarios could severely disrupt Taiwan's chip supply chain. That is why governments everywhere are nervous. The world built its digital economy around stability in Taiwan, but stability is becoming harder to guarantee. The AI revolution made everything worse. Artificial intelligence changed the semiconductor industry forever. Before AI, chips were already important. Now they are becoming the foundation of future economic power. Companies racing to dominate AI need massive numbers of advanced processors. That demand exploded. NVIDIA became one of the most valuable companies in the world because its AI chips power modern artificial intelligence systems. Taiwan remains deeply connected to this AI ecosystem through TSMC manufacturing. Suddenly, semiconductors were not just about phones and laptops anymore. They became the fuel powering the future of civilization itself. And that made Taiwan even more important. Countries now fear being left behind in the AI race. And the AI race depends heavily on advanced chip production, which means it depends heavily on Taiwan. The fragile supply chain. One of the biggest problems is how difficult semiconductor manufacturing really is. Building advanced chips is not simple. Factories cost tens of billions of dollars. Machines are incredibly complex. Workers require years of training. Supply chains involve chemicals, rare materials, precision engineering, and advanced manufacturing systems from multiple countries. You cannot simply build a replacement overnight. Even countries trying to reduce dependence on Taiwan face major challenges. The United States, Japan, and Europe are investing heavily in new chip factories. TSMC itself is expanding operations internationally, including projects in Arizona and Japan. But rebuilding semiconductor manufacturing takes years, and during those years, Taiwan remains the center of the system. That is why the world feels trapped. Everyone knows dependence on one island is risky, but replacing Taiwan is incredibly difficult. Cyber warfare and espionage. The conflict is not only military, it is digital too. Taiwan's semiconductor industry faces constant cyber attacks and espionage attempts. Security researchers reported multiple China-linked cyber campaigns targeting Taiwan's semiconductor sector and supply chains. Why? Because semiconductors are now strategic assets. Countries want chip technology. Corporations want trade secrets. Governments want intelligence. The semiconductor industry became a battlefield without bombs. A silent war of hacking, espionage, economic pressure, and technological competition. And the pressure keeps growing. What happens if Taiwan falls into crisis? This is the question governments quietly ask behind closed doors. What happens if Taiwan's semiconductor industry suddenly stops? The answer is frightening. Global technology production could collapse. Electronics shortages could spread everywhere. Automobile factories could shut down. AI companies could lose access to critical chips. Financial markets could panic. And because semiconductors power nearly every modern industry, the damage could spread faster than most people imagine. The COVID-era chip shortage already showed how fragile supply chains can be. And that shortage was small compared to what a Taiwan crisis could cause. Because Taiwan is not just another supplier. It is the supplier, a world entering a new era. The world is entering a dangerous new phase. For decades, globalization was built on efficiency. Countries depended on each other. Factories spread across the world. Supply chains became interconnected. But now governments increasingly care about security instead of efficiency. Technology is becoming geopolitical. Trade is becoming political. Semiconductors are becoming strategic weapons. The fight for the future may no longer be about oil fields or shipping canals. It may be about microchips. And Taiwan sits directly in the middle of that battle. For decades, semiconductors were invisible to most people. Now they sit at the center of global power. Taiwan became one of the world's most important places because modern civilization depends on the chips it produces. Phones, AI, cars, banks, military systems, and the internet itself all rely on these tiny components. But growing tensions around Taiwan are making the entire world nervous. Because if semiconductor production stops, the global economy could face massive disruption overnight. The battle for technological power has already begun. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into the systems shaping our world. See you in the next one.